Okay, it's happening. It's finally happening. The midfield rebuild that we as Manchester United fans have been crying out for years is finally ramping up. Now, we've signed midfielders before, but those were usually just individual additions to the squad. This feels different. This feels like a calculated rebuild. One that isn't just about fixing today's problems, but building a midfield that benefits the club for years to come. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more Manchester United content. Getting back into the Champions League meant United were finally heading in the right direction. There was momentum around the club, and the transfer window was always going to be about carrying that momentum into next season. The squad clearly needed work. Right at the start of the window, United moved for Ederson. At the time, it looked like the club was sending a message. They weren't going to be bullied into overpaying for players anymore, and instead, they were going to look for value in the market. Unfortunately, the deal eventually collapsed after issues were found during the medical. Now, he wasn't exactly a fan favorite, but it was still disappointing to see the move fall apart. Then came the frustration. United found themselves priced out of several of their top midfield targets. Take Anderson, for example. The fee Manchester City paid, along with the wages they offered, was simply beyond where United are right now. As much as fans wanted him, most people understood the reality. United have been poorly managed for years, and they're simply not in a position to go around breaking the British transfer record. Then there was the Fernandes saga. West Ham wanted a record-breaking fee, and United were prepared to wait for the price to come down. But then, out of nowhere, Spurs came in willing to spend a boatload of money just to get the deal done. Tonali was another name that slipped away, another very good player, for another huge fee. At this point, the fan base was starting to panic. One by one, the top transfer targets were joining other clubs. The only arrival was Ederson, and even that move had fallen apart. Fans were questioning whether United were becoming too cautious. Some even argued the club should have broken the bank for at least one marquee signing. Because, let's be honest, watching your rival spend massive amounts of money while your own hierarchy just watches the market unfold isn't exactly reassuring. Then, out of nowhere, reports emerged that United had asked Chelsea to keep them informed about André Santos. A few days later, he was a Manchester United player. Now, some supporters were underwhelmed. But when you really look at it, Santos is exactly the type of signing United should be making. He's young, he's versatile, he has enormous room to improve, and he already has Premier League experience. He ticks almost every box you'd want from a long-term midfield signing. And if we're being honest, watching Chelsea fans react wasn't exactly a bad bonus either. Overall, it was smart business. Then came the signing that absolutely nobody saw coming, Youri Tielemans. This deal happened incredibly quickly. From the first links to United triggering his release clause, it all unfolded within hours. And suddenly, the fan base was excited again. Because for the price United paid, it was an absolute bargain. Tielemans is battle-tested. He spent years in the Premier League. He understands the league. He understands the physicality. And perhaps most importantly, he's been consistently reliable. Unlike some signings that need months to settle, United won't have to wait for Tielemans to adapt. The same can be said, to some extent, for Santos. Both players already know English football, which means these aren't just signings for future. They're signings for right now as well. Even after all this business, I still think United need at least one more midfielder. Personally, I'd love to see two arrive. My number one target remains Carlos Baleba. Yes, he had a disappointing season, but talent doesn't disappear overnight. All a poor season has done is lower his valuation. He's still technically gifted. He's comfortable on the ball, and he'll run himself into the ground for the team. United could also decide to bring in someone like Alex Scott, or maybe they're already working on another surprise signing. After all, nobody expected the Santos or Tielemans deals either. Away from midfield, United have also brought in a backup goalkeeper for Sen. The club are still looking at either a new left back or a left winger, depending on how the market develops. There's also a plan to bring in a backup striker to support Sesko throughout the upcoming season. So the rebuild definitely isn't finished yet. But the midfield, The area we've all wanted fixed for years finally feels like it's being rebuilt the right way. So let me know in the comments. Who would you like Manchester United to sign next?